Igratuhaku Jijiya, Mombepo Pamuko Varuba, Kupo, Unyario, Wakachalati, Igratuhaku Jijiya. Wakati Manukor Izizu Nandoku Mulira, Cholakin Chimua, Olalabucha. Wangacholati Izi, Igratuhaku Jijiya, Jawati Man Wogratong, Igratuhaku Jijiya, Mombepo Pamuko Varuba, Kupo, Unyario, Wakachalati, Igratuhaku Jijiya. Kupo, Unyario, Wakati Manukor Nandoku Mulira, Okumigli, Cholakin Chimua, Olalabucha. Igratuhaku Jijiya, Mombepo Pamuko Varuba, Kupo, Unyario, Wakachalati, Igratuhaku Jijiya. Kupo, Unyario, Wakati Manukor Nandoku Mulira, Okumigli, Cholakin Chimua, Olalabucha. Wangacholati Izi, Igratuhaku Jijiya, Jawati Man Wogratong. Okumigli, Chupa Chokuna, Kumakachiza Punsa. Kupo, Unyario, Wakati Manukor Nandoku Mulira, Okumigli, Cholakin Chimua, Olalabucha. Kupo, Unyario, Wakati Manukor Nandoku Mulira, Okumigli, Cholakin Chimua, Olalabucha.
I'm here.
Acknowledgement.
What can I do?
Ready.
What? What can I do? I'm here.
Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else? I see that, but do you have the all-important chieftains, Gaffy? That was what you agreed to get for us. Well, that is a very big headache that you've removed. I'm sure there are still sand people out there, but they'll be quieter now. I think I'll give you a bonus for this. You've more than lived up to your side of the bargain. Zerga Corporation thanks you. It would be valuable to have someone on call if the Sand People made another incursion. I think you're right. Yes, here's an additional reward. Once again, Zerga Corporation thanks you.
Mission? Is it really you? I heard Taurus was destroyed. I thought you were dead. Oh, joy of joys, my little sister is alive.
I have to ask you something, Griff. It's important. I ran into Lena. She said it was your idea to leave me on Terrace. It isn't true, is it?
Well, there's the truth and then there's the truth, you know? I always meant to go back to Taurus, sis, just as soon as I had the credits to pay off my debts. But credits have been hard to come by.
You mean it's true? It was your idea to leave me there? I'm your sister. How could you abandon me like that?
Come on, sis. You didn't need me to look after you anymore. You may have been young, but you knew how to take care of yourself. Besides, you're here now. I mean, everything worked out fine.
That's it? That's all you have to say to me after all these years, after deserting me on Terrace?
That and, you look good, sis. Like you're doing well. Financially, I mean. Say, you think you could spare me a few credits to get back on my feet? Do you?
You're hitting me up for credits. I don't believe this. Lena was right about you, Griff. We should have just left you to the Sand People. Don't talk to me anymore. Ever.
That didn't go well. Sis was always a little too fiery for her own good. She'll cool down in time. You're kidding, right? Look at me. Do I look like I've got any reward for you? You may have saved my life, but I don't have a single credit to my name. Say, you wouldn't be able to spare me some credits, just till I get back on my feet, you know? I guess you've been talking to Lena too. That's okay. I'll figure out a way to get by without your credits. I always do. Besides, I've already got a job lined up for me. Krita, the manager over at the Zerga supply shop, said I could come work for him if I ever get tired of the mines. Yeah, I think I'll go take him up on his offer. You know, maybe there's something else you can help me with. I need to talk to a guy first and set up the details, but if you're interested in a job, come see me in Greta's shop. Goodbye, Mission. I'm glad you're not dead.
Ucciua penki, tangi tuamaji, human act in ikatune, chi itakanki chana kilikon, chiwa itakanki kakin cha nawabakaon, bagwa shank kontimachit Ki King
Fakulta Kolo Luf Nifanwe
Greetings again from the offices of Zerk. You have fulfilled your end of the bargain, and Zerka Corporation is grateful. The Sand People will be less of a threat without their chieftain. I will, of course, continue to give you bounties on... Very... Fair...
Ah, just the person I was hoping to see. Mission didn't come with you, I see. Well, guess she's still mad at me. Oh well, it's probably for the best. This job is more up your alley anyway. As you may know, tack glands can be refined to a very potent powder. It's the primary ingredient in Teresian ale. That's what makes it so strong. Of course, now that Taris is pretty much wiped from the face of the map, Teresian ale has become somewhat scarce and very, very valuable. Luckily, I know the secret recipe. I know this guy. He's with the Exchange. Now, if I give him a small sample of Teresian ale, he says he can synthesize it and reproduce it in mass quantities. Problem is, I need one of those tack glands to make the first batch, and now that Taris is a smoking ruin, the only place to find tack is on Kashyyyk. If you can get your hands on one of those tack glands, I'll make it worth your while. Sorry, like I said before, I don't have any credits on me, and Greta won't lend me any. I mean, it's like he doesn't trust me to pay him back or something. But you come through on this, and I promise you'll get a huge payday down the road. 3,000 credits. How's that sound? Yeah, I knew you'd come through for me. You won't regret this. You'll see. Just don't take too long, okay? This guy from the Exchange could stop by any day. I kinda told him I already had the stuff, so if he shows up and I'm empty-handed, well, let's just say I really, really hope it doesn't come to that.
Hello again. Is there something else you wanted? I really have to get back to work. Well, it's a hole in the galaxy as far as I'm concerned. I doubt this outpost will last much longer. But that's happened before and will happen again. Anchorhead has been resettled a few times now. Well, Tatooine fools people. It looks like it might have a good supply of resources, but it doesn't. Before a company learns this, they've already set up communities to support operations they now can't afford. All right.
Oh, good hunting.
I'm here. What? What can I do?
Now that must be
What? Let's make this quick!
To maximum.
What can I...
Now that must have hurt.
You
Now
cannot win!
I'm tired of waiting, Comad. How big can this dragon of yours be? I'm going in.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Hodonga kun hankami. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning ka chikun ida hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Slimo podonar de hodonga kun kabe. Ka chikun ida hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Slimo podonar de hodonga kun kabe.
Jeda badawana ni dibobo. Dong nabung siya nununya. Dong patukasmak talea.
Runda di hodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukune mulerabes.
Muchashak pakat. Kieno no namapaole rachikun.
Ka chikun ida hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Slimo podonar de hodonga kun kabe. Runda di hodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukune mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe. Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunne mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe. Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunne mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe. Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunne mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe. Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunne mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe. Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunne mulerabes. Kachikun idahadonga, iking kuno pamuleratikun. Spimo podonar dihodunga kun kabe.
Jedabadawana ni Dibobo. Dong nabung siya nununya. Dong patukas magtalea.
Runda dihodonga kun hankabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Tugnin chatukune munerabes.
Muchashak bakat. Kieno no namapaole rachikun.
Let's make this quick. Let's make this quick. What can I do?
Ready.
You have the Force fights with me.
achuta. Unga kun bistot achuta. Unga kun bistot. Jeda badawana ni di bobo. Dong nabung siya nununya. Dong patukas magtalea. Une podo rananu prata donko shirkasha jum apike. Nandayata. Wata yuma wamahuhu nandatik. Shatung ni patoga. Wano kusbe ching palamula donke. Jeda badawana ni di bobo. Dong nabung siya nununya. Dong patukas magtalea.
Di hotonga kun hanggabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Tugning chatukunde mulerabes.
Mucho siyak pakat. Kieno no namapaule rachikun.
What?
I believe there can be little doubt that we have found the star map you were seeking. I am surprised it is still working after all this time.
I do not think it is mere chance that we have found the star map here, in the lair of a Krayt Dragon. The star map is an artifact of the dark side. The Krayt Dragon may have been drawn here by its dark power, only to be enslaved by it. Come, we should leave this place. There's nothing else for us here.
Query, what do you wish to ask of him, Master? Protocol. This will be a very sensitive topic, Master. You will want to be careful with your questions or risk offending him. Not that that is much of a worry. Translation. Translation. You have been told that to be considered worthy of hearing the histories, you need to bring him a dragon pearl from a great dragon. Translation. He says the discussion is closed until you fulfill this condition. He thinks you are just making fun of his traditions. Translation. Translation. He is stupefied, Master. He never thought you could return with such an item. Such a thing has not been done in many years. Translation. He will allow you to meet the storyteller, but also gives a warning. If you dare to repeat the histories incorrectly, you will be killed. Translation. The storyteller will be summoned to one of the rooms here in the Enclave. He seems to think this is a great honor for you, Master. Translation. Translation. He says that the fact that you have to ask, this is just one more example of your ignorance as an Translation. His people believe they are part of the land, living with it. You and your kind dare to raise yourself above it. You remove yourself. Translation. That act of removal makes you an outsider, separate from all that is important. You could never... Translation. Translation. He says that outsiders use machines to convey them and to make their lives easier. This severs a connection with the land. Translation. Connection to the soil must be made through flesh. A sacred animal is the only external tool to be used. Translation. Translation. He says that the use of these blasphemous things will only be tolerated because outsider interference has forced it upon them. Translation. If your kind had not come here, he would not have to defend their ways or their land. Translation. Translation. He says that the robes are sacred, Master, and you would not understand. Sand people are never uncovered outside of... Protocol. We should not keep him long. It is an insult to take... Translation. Translation.
I'm here.
Ready!
I'm
Right,
here. Yes? Now that's
Droid efficiency at its best.
yes?
Hologram.
I'm here. Yes? What can I do? Yes?
Ready. Ready.
There. What? Yes? What? Yes? I'm here now. I'm here.
Master?
What?
Achuta. Wonga kun pistol. Achuta. Wonga kun pistol. Jedo ba the one I need? Tune. Ethan non diet Jidabadawana ni Dibobo. Ka Chikun Ita Haldonga, Yikinkun.
This betrayal is beneath you. Do not let your greed draw you to the dark side.
Muchashak Bakat. Kieno no Namapaule Rachiku, Jidabadawana ni Dibobo. Dong Nam. Puna!
Preparing blasters, Master. Translation. He identifies himself as the storyteller, Master. He has been told of your warrior skills and will speak the history to you. Translation. Translation. There is only one accepted history, passed orally to each successive generation. Translation. A book or datapad can be taken away, cheapening the value of what it contains. To commit it to paper or storage is to remove it from the people. Translation. Translation. You may choose to hear the history, or you may choose not to. Their history is a single entity that cannot be partitioned. Translation. The only exception is in continuing the tales once they have begun. If you leave, when you return, he will continue from where he left off. Translation. Translation. It begins with the ancient times. They were not sand people, for there was no sand. The land was green with life, and they walked without wrappings. Translation. Though the land was beautiful, they lived apart from the land. They built their walls high and saw beyond the horizon. They dared to reach the stars. Translation. There are no words for how long ago this was. It was before the outsiders, before the abduction, before the cities fell, before the builders. Translation. Translation. His arrogant people touched the stars, and this sin drew the attention of the builders. The builders did not touch the stars, they lashed them to millstones. Translation. Great demons of metal stripped the world of its riches, until all that was left was the green of the ground. The great cities were lifted away. Translation. Those that had used the wealth were taken along with it. Transgressors abducted to serve past the sky, seeding the stars with penitent, adaptable slaves. Cautionary. I should warn you, Master, that any questioning of their interpretation may be seen as trying to change the meaning of what clarification. They may consider this to be speaking the words in error, a blasphemy they would attempt to kill you for. Clarification. It would appear that they once had a thriving technologically advanced society, but were wiped out by a much more sophisticated alien species. Negative. I am no library, but since there is no Republic record of this planet having sentient life before Zerka colonization, I doubt you will find such evidence. Translation. Translation. He only understands the Builders as an iconic force meant to test the resolve of his people. He is not making sense, Master. Clarification. They claim their stories are repeated unchanged, but they have demonized these Builders. In their minds, they wreaked such havoc they could not possibly be flesh and blood. Cautionary. Master, this line of questioning may be interpreted as attempting to change the story. He may doubting. I don't believe he can, Master. Even if their stories are exact and unchanged, it is likely they were first told thousands of years after these events occurred. This has become very much like a creation myth for his people. There is no date. It simply was. Cautionary. Remember my warning, Master. They may consider certain questions to be speaking the words in error, a blasphemy they would attempt to kill you for. Clarification. I believe they were occupied by this technologically superior species for a substantial period. Stripping an entire planet of usable resources would have taken generations. Translation. Translation. He has no number. He claims that those that were taken were examples of the worst of his kind, arrogant and uncaring of the land. Doubtful. Master, this is just another distortion due to their demonization of the Builders. It's like claiming an aspect of his people were taken, not actual individuals. Clearly, history has colored his view. Of course, only the inferior meatbags were taken. The remaining were his ancestors, after all. They must have been special. Obvious. The same reason Zerka Corporation is attempting it now. Expanding empires need tremendous amounts of resources. Obedient. I will ask whatever you... Translation. Translation. There came a time when the Builders were also judged for their crimes. After generations, a plague weakened them, and the time of the Great War began. Translation. The Builders faltered, and his people realized why they had been punished, so that they understood the crime, and would now strike down the greater offender. Translation: they worked chaos in the machines, so they destroyed themselves. The builders fought back, laying waste to the green that had been misused with fire from above. Translation: soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe. Deep in cave homes carved from valley wall, they were free. Cautionary. Clarification. The occupying force suffered some sort of species-wide plague that lowered their numbers over time. His people used this extended weakness to sabotage their larger ships. The response of the builders appears to have been to lay waste to the entire surface of Tatooine. Doubting. They didn't, Master. They struck a blow, but the storyteller only believes they won because the builders were gone when they emerged from their caves. That does not mean they defeated anyone. It seems clear that the builders simply sterilized their problem and left. The enemy judged them not worthy to fight. Clarification. I may not have properly conveyed how long they fought with the builders. Given time, any number of armaments could destroy a world. Hypothesis. Perhaps this is another distortion. Their climate may have begun to fail due to their unrestrained development even before the builders arrived. Looking back thousands of years later, such a shift could easily be attributed to the much-hated conquerors. Hypothesis. If his people were moving away from technology for a long time under the builders, they may have had extensive cave systems that could grant shelter. I would also suggest that, given the evidence of the massive shift in the nature of their society, most of them did not survive. Obedient. Translate. Editing, if I may, Master. This section of his tale details several millennia of the Long Walk, their nomadic wanderings as they accept their identity in a desert world. Rather than strain my circuits on his dialect, might we just assume there was much fighting over who has the biggest bantha and move on to more recent things? Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all as sand people and all cherished the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines fell from the stars again, outsiders like you that brazenly walked apart from the land. And greater still was the insult to come. Translation. These outsiders reminded them of their past transgression, of the time when they too walked apart from land. The outsiders, your kind, looked like their ancient abducted. Translation: so it is to the current sons that the Sand People hate all outsiders and give them no footing. You come again, time after time, adaptable slaves to the machine. Editing. The last 1,000 years are full of conflicts with different groups of attempted planetary settlers, all of whom are poorly described, long dead, and likely untraceable. I believe I have truncated it down to the usable bits in what was already said. I hope it is enough, Master. Cautionary. Remember... Impatience. Master, I refuse to inconvenience you with this. He spouted names of petty tribal fights in deserts so distant they might as well be across the galaxy. Really, Master, I'm sure it's important to him, but it has nothing of value that you could ever put to use. Clarification. They appear to hate humanity with a passion only rivaled by their hatred of the Builders. For some reason, you resemble what they once were. Perhaps there is a lingering fear that you are their tainted selves returning from exile among the stars. Cautionary. Master, if you mean to suggest that humanity is ancestrally linked to ancient Tatooine, you will strain his belief system to its pitiful meatbag maximum. Cautionary. Obedient. Translation. Translation. Now that you have heard the whole of the history, you may select a piece of it to hear again. Translation. Translation. There came a time when the Builders were also judged for their crimes. After generations, a plague weakened them, and the time of the Great War began. Translation. The Builders faltered, and his people realized why they had been punished, so that they understood the crime, and would now strike down the greater offender. Translation. They worked chaos in the machines, so they destroyed themselves. The Builders fought back, laying waste to the green that had been misused with fire from above. Translation. Soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe. Deep in cave homes carved from valley wall, they were free. Translation. Translation.
How can I help? About my mother? I'm unsure. I seem to find it difficult to remain objective when it comes to her. I find that disturbing. Do you think I should? That would just lead to another argument. How I always despised talking. I'll think about it. I should try and remember my training. I should be able to let go of this, but I can't. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's keep going.
Zerka is claiming that there are no more supplies have been ordered for the Zerka outposts on Kashyyyk. Doesn't sound...
Greetings again. Farewell.
Ki mulira kun. Kakincha nawabakaon.
You're back! I knew you'd come through for me. I knew I could count on you. You do have a tech land from... Sorry, like I said before, I don't have any credits on me. And Greta won't lend me any. It's like he doesn't trust me to pay him back or something. But you come through on this, and I promise you'll get a huge payday down the road. 3,000 credits. How's that sound? Come to Papa, you sweet simian organ. It may not look like much, but once I turn this into a bottle of Torresian ale, it'll end up being worth a fortune. You know, once we synthesize this and start brewing Torresian ale in mass quantities, we're gonna be looking for some investors. You give me a couple of 100 credits, and I can get you in on the ground floor. You'll get a return of, at least 20 times your investment. Hey, don't worry, you'll get your credits as soon as we start mass producing that Torresian ale. I just wanted to know if you were interested in an even bigger payoff. You don't know much about business, do you? When an opportunity like this comes along, you have to jump at it. Come on, what do you say? It's your loss. I better get started brewing that ale. Meet me back here later, and I'll give you a down payment on what I owe you.
Ivanrevu, Ikel Irimo. Papuelta. Royo, Antipiango. Sierva, Ufta del Cliff, Kolodufta. Well.
I heard what you did out on the dunes. I'm impressed. I'd never have thought a tenderfoot like you could bring down a dragon. Again? Well... See you around.
Objection. Worn out? Listen, you talentless organic meatbag. One word from my master and I will pull you apart, limb from useless limb. I have always been hostile. Now that I need no longer rely on you and your primitive maintenance skills, I do not need to hide it. Query. I apologize.
back already? Have you even looked for the holocron yet?
I have the holocron, Mother. I'm just not sure I want to give it to you.
And why not? Would you deny me even that?
I've never denied you anything, Mother. You may think I don't remember what it was like before I left for the Order, but I do. You were the one who pushed Father to go on one treasure hunt after the other. You loved living in wealth. You think I don't remember the fights? You were eager to send me to the Jedi even though I didn't want to go. You took Father away from me. And now this holocron is all I have of him.
Fool girl. You have a strange way of remembering things. That wasn't...
No, I don't wish to argue with you anymore, Mother. It's time we parted ways now, for both our benefit. You don't know her. My mother is notoriously deceptive when she wants something. Why should she have the holocron?
Is it too difficult to believe that I am a dying woman who simply wishes to see her husband one last time?
I find it difficult to believe anything you say, Mother. You're right. It shames me, but I find it difficult to let go of the past. I'm sorry, Mother.
I was hard on you, dear. I wasn't a very good mother to you. I know that. Your father loved you so. He wanted you to be just like him. He wanted to take you on his hunts, but I said they were too dangerous. I always tried to keep him from the dangerous ones, but he would have none of it. It was a reckless life we led. Always moving. I didn't want that for you.
So that's why you gave me to the Order?
What do your father and I have to show for all those years of hunting? Nothing. That was no life for anyone. Especially not someone as gifted as you, your father. He spent all his last years trying to pay for my treatments. That's why he went for the pearls. I begged him not to, but...
Your treatments?
I'm dying, Bastila. I did not lie about that. It's been a long time in the coming, and there's really nothing that can be done anymore. I told your father to let me go, but you know how he was. Stubborn, like you.
I'm so sorry, Mother. I don't know what to say.
Keep the holocron, Bastila. It would do me good to know you have it. This talking to you. This is what I really needed before
I know. Thank you. I'm glad we talked too.
Well, now. You said you had important business, and you were never one to mince words. You there. You take care of my daughter, you hear me? That's good. I'll feel a lot better knowing there's someone to watch her.
Where are you going to go?
It doesn't matter, dear. Don't you worry about me.
Here, take these 500 credits. That's all I have. Go to Coruscant and find a doctor. I'll meet you there after what I have to do.
But I already told you there's nothing that can...
Please take it. I want to see you again, when we can talk.
All right, I will. You do what you have to, Bastila. You go make your father and I proud.
I'll try. Farewell, Mother.
Ki mulira kun kin. Tong hitwama chiwi aita ka tong chicha. Agi inko tune chuna mulira. Chiwa aita kan kicha na chupornibo. Kun mulira slimo poiwanga tongi Topa na otavokasa. Pampa ki mulira kun kin. Chanwaba chinyo. Just cronky do patslimo. Chi ita kanki channa kilikon. Kinba mulira donaji. Kinba no kun nikset abog. Just cronky do patslimo. Chi ita kanki channa kilikon. Kinba mulira donaji. Kinba no kun nikset abog. Chiwa aita kan kicha na chupornibo. Kun mulira slimo poiwanga tangi tuamaji human act in ikatune.